All right. Welcome to Krav Life. I'm Paul Simos, and today I got a special guest with me, Mr. Avi Nardia. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. Thank you very much.
All right. And where are you joining us from today?
Today from Belgrade, Serbia, former Yugoslavia.
Nice. And now for the people that not everybody's going to know who you are, I'd like to start with a little bit of background, if you don't mind.
Well, my background is I'm a martial art teacher, and I'm now 60 years old, so I'm teaching for many years, and I'm known for, basically I'm known for Israeli martial art, but that's not the only martial arts I've done. So I devoted my life to martial art, and I studied since I'm a kid a lot of different martial artists, and I'm still studying and exploring this fascinated world that called martial art from different aspects.
Nice. So what martial arts did you start in?
I think that the first one, you can say it's a Krav Maga or KAPAP, is no matter of, you know, like it's like when you say CQB and CQC, close quarter combat or close quarter battle. And there's a lot of similarities and there is a lot of differences. It's like when you name something like karate, every karate teacher teach a little bit different and different philosophy and different approach. So in the end, everyone teach karate, but every karate can be different. And it's the same when it comes to Krav Maga. Krav Maga is a generic name like for hand-to-hand or self-defense. And it's just like a name in Hebrew, and that's why it sounds like karate is in Japanese, and in Hebrew you will say Krav Maga.
Nice. And so where did you first study Krav Maga then?
My first Krav Maga come from house, like I think many Israelis in my age, like I'm now 60 years old, and when I was a child, most of our parents, they come from generation that studied KAPAP, that later on changed into the term Krav Maga. And that's also when people ask me what's the difference. It's very difficult to say what's the difference. It's like, what the difference between you to me? We're all human, but people are different. So martial art will be different too because it's done by humans. My father come from the first Israeli pioneers, even from the rare ones that had a red paratrooper wing, which means he even jump in a war. And today there was a big jump over here in Slovenia, and my friends jump. It's a 100 years memorial for Hannah Senesh, which was the first paratrooper, and she, in the Second World War, she was like joining partisan, and she jump in Hungary, Austria border. You know that now we are separated more. So I think that most of my generation, they study some kind of a mix that you can call it KAPAP or Krav Maga, which it's much, when we start to put maybe things in a better order. But first it was just a mix, a chaos of different styles. And I think that most of people started like this, my generation. And then, come also different martial arts into the market. You can see that the judo came around the 60s more, and then Aikido maybe around the 80s, and Thai box around the 80s. So martial art is a process, and like now you can see the big revolution of MMA and BJJ in the last few years. And there was martial art before BJJ and MMA, but now you can see how everything changed, and that's the same with Krav Maga or KAPAP, that the first pioneers, they teach what they knew and everything that can help. And it was not to make this system better or that master better. It just, I have a knowledge, you need the knowledge, and I'm trying to give you the best in my opinion. And that was also my process, that my father start to teach me that way. To be honest, I didn't like that so much. I didn't like to see in the martial art only the aggressive part. I didn't like to see only the self-defense part. And when I find out about judo, for example, I love it because it was much more gentle and much more, I would not say smart, because everything had its own logic and smart. But I love the judo because when you attack me, I'm a small guy and I can throw you. Later on, I find out about Aikido or different arts, but it was new. Today, the generations with the YouTube and all the videos online and programs, I think that we have to grow so big to find out about them. Today, they are offered in every street corner, so it's more easy for the young generation. But I'll say that I start from Krav Maga and I end in Krav Maga.
Nice. So you started as a boy being taught KAPAP and later Krav Maga, and then you found interest in other martial arts, and how did those other martial arts influence what you did in Krav Maga?
Well, it's like when you expose to different martial arts, you expose also to different approach. So, for example, lately it means like 25 years ago, when I started to be involved with BJJ. And the thing that I liked about BJJ was I always joke and I say it was my therapy. Because, you teach Krav Maga is a very tense martial art. That everything is more tense and people more tense. And all the time they're looking for, what do I do if two people jump with me with a knife or somebody come with a gun? And I don't blame. It's a necessity that does not exist, for example, in Japan. In Japan, nobody. I mean, it's very rare that somebody will attack you in the street, but in Israel, it's very common that streets are more aggressive. And when I started BJJ, the thing that I liked was that it's like a therapy. It was like to enjoy, to relax, and to find out that you can do martial art in many different angles. You can do it for health. You can do it for spirit. You can do it to make yourself stronger. You can do it for everything include. And I think that the beauty, for example, of the Krav Maga, that they're ready to study and to take from everyone. But when you do this, you must be very, in a way you can say rude, in a way you can say arrogant. But for example, you do not need to go into the BJJ so deep. And you don't care if I pass your guard or I mount you, you care if I finish you or if you survive. So I think that the Krav Maga is like a panorama that if I want to be world champion in judo, I cannot do nothing other than judo, nothing. And if I'm Olympic or if I'm compete BJJ, all my life is BJJ or all my life is Thai box. The beauty of Krav Maga is that you are not the best, but you're good in judo, you're good in boxing, you're good in many things, and that panorama give you better way to survive and for a street fight. And again, in the streets, everything is possible. You can train all your life and lose a street fight, and somebody that never trained and also did all the possible mistakes and he survived it because we have the luck factor many times. But I think that the beauty of Krav Maga is the versatility. And a lot of time when people ask me to come to seminars, they're always talking about my versatility to teach. So I can teach with gun or with a knife, but in none of them I will play. In none of them. I give you another example. I have a ton of friends that play arnis and eskrima, and I did it too. And but they will admit after meet me, and a lot of them are great master for eskrima, but you don't need all of those million games because then it looks like a pedicab, like this. And people do it. but they forget about the combat. And I've been in a seminar, and my friend did moves, and we did moves, and then I showed them. I reversed the move that he did, and everyone went, "Wow, that's beautiful." And then I told them, "This is a nonsense. That's a nonsense. That's something that will never work." And they were all in a shock because I showed something nice, and then I deleted. I said it's a nonsense. I just did it as a joke. And then I showed. My friend is a Kyokushin NK1 champion, and I said, "Okay, let's do it with him." And the guy demo and say, "Wow, nice!" And do it again, and the guy kick him, and suddenly technique finish.
Yeah.
Many times, if you can see moves with a stick, but when you do this, all the blocks, and I headbutt you or elbow you or knee you, why not? And this is the beauty of Krav Maga, that we don't stuck only on the sword, we don't stuck only on the move, we reverse technique and we explore.
Mhm.
And another thing that I found out in Krav Maga, that you go to BJJ, your nose will be like this, ear like this, because it's a very specific martial art that you see grapplers or our students. They coming from all the walks. They look like normal people.
Yeah.
They might be not the toughest fighter. They might be not the best athletics, and we give them solutions. Of course, I'm not sure if I want to put my students in the UFC, because that's not the goal of self-defense.
Yeah.
But for me, the goal is to teach them to take something to life. So, of course, the Krav Maga brings this thing that it's not better than any other. It's not the most deadliest than other. But I think that it's more friendly for the common Joe in the street, for the common person in the street. And you can be a banker or a dancer or any profession, and you can go inside it. I remember that when I did the BJJ, not all the time, but there were time or clubs that I had to watch out my nose and my ears, because some
Mhm.
people go rough, and when they grab you and you do this, and your ear will full with blood. And the Krav Maga is more to approach to the normal people. I always tell my guys they teach, if you want your son to study to drive, you don't send him to Formula One or to K1.
Right.
This is our schools are for the average people in our area, that they can come and put their first steps without worried, without maybe injuries. I don't say that other people don't do it, but it's a very friendly approach. And let's say that you train 10 years, okay, and you want to move to be a professional MMA, or you can do it. But many times when people come to me and ask, I say, okay, it's not in my school. I don't lie to you. My school is to the normal people. I always say we teach martial art for normal people. I'm
Mhm.
not teaching. I'm not those gyms that teaching UFC, and I'm not saying it in a negative way. I think that they have their own respect. But many times when I see the trash talk of UFC and all the show that's going on there, I feel disgusting. I don't want even to touch it. I don't think it's a proud. I don't think. Sound like I don't want to see my students in a gladiator fight. So it's not matter if they are strong. My concern is to take a person and to give him confidence and to give him skills and to give him quality life. And
Mhm.
this is why I think that Krav Maga is more approach to teach you for life, and not only for not to be a champion. Like sometimes your trophy is the quality of life, that you come, you enjoy, you go home, you have skills to protect family, yourself, and this is the last thing that you're gonna do. In any matter of confrontation, you will try to avoid, you will try to escape, because many times, when you're take that guy, in the UFC, that he
Mhm.
always look for conflict, always looks to fight. no, this is not my students, and I don't want even to see students like that. And also, you need to understand that age will play a role. I'm 60 years old, I still can move, jump. I'm not sure that a lot of people, when they fight like this and they get in so many injuries by the years, um, it will not affect them when they grow older. Plus, in my class, the oldest student I had, I think, was 95 years old. So
Wow.
I can still teaching people 95 years old. And this is, I think, I remember when this guy came and he said, please teach me self-defense. And I laughed. I said, I can teach you martial arts for self-defense. He said, why? I said, you know, Bruce Lee died very, very young. So I'm not sure his self-defense was good. And I know a lot of champions in MMA or did that either sit in prison because the wrong attitude and getting involved in a street fight.
Mm-hmm.
That is also a possibility. Or either get killed in the street, you know, like they maybe punch even the guy and win, and the guy run and come back with a gun or a knife. So if you get to the age of 95, you know a lot about survival and self-defense because you managed to get to this age. I'm not sure that we are going to do it. I mean, as a healthcare, because the Krav Maga, for example, the concept healthcare is also important. Weight control, monitoring is also without being top athlete, because again, not everyone build up to be a top athlete. There's a big price you pay to be a top athlete, and that's where Krav Maga, I think, gives a good solutions to people. And again, I don't say that it's better than any other martial art. It's like a glove and a hand. It depends what you're looking. If you're looking for shooting glove, take a shooting glove. If you're looking to cut meat, buy a professional glove for cut meat. If you look for winter gloves, you have to take winter glove. If you look for a medical glove, it's a medical glove. But it's the same as martial art. It depends on your age and what you're looking for. Maybe if you are 20 and you want to be, I don't know, compete, you have testosterone, okay, go to judo, go to Thai box, go to something competitive. Krav Maga is not competitive. I get a lot of stress from students that they want me to put competition in Krav. And I think, yeah, it's good if you want to grow up, if you want, because you know, when you have competition, you have money, you have sponsor. That's why everyone wants to be in those sports. You have glory. Krav Maga, there's no glory because we don't go to compete. There's no glory. I cannot tell you, oh, this guy was a three-time world champion for K1 or BJJ.
Mm-hmm.
So Krav Maga is to do something in a way also more humble for yourself, not for a glory. Your only glory is your own survival, your own life quality.
Yeah, and I think that's the key difference between Krav Maga and MMA or BJJ and stuff like that is that Krav Maga is not a sport. To get really good at sport, it takes a lot of dedication to get to that level, and most people don't have that time to put in, right? So these guys in the UFC, they are training every day for hours a day, but the average person does not have hours a day to train. So they need something that's going to, like you said, keep them in shape and keep them with a skill that they can use. So I think that's a very interesting take on your explanation of Krav Maga. The so you have a school, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you only teach Krav Maga at your school, or do you teach a whole bunch of other martial arts as well?
You know, like you ask me where I'm living, and I tell you I'm living in Belgrade. But if you know how many places I move, I'm getting bored very fast.
Yeah.
And that's why I like Krav Maga, because I can do ground fight, I can do boxing, I can do Thai boxing, kickboxing, I can do anything. It's not that every training will be left, right. You know, I did it. I did when I did judo. We did only judo, only BJJ. But the versatility that Krav gave me, um, plus I did a lot of my study. When I studied judo, I didn't took two classes. I went to my black belt. When I did karate, I did to black belt, or kendo to black belts. And in kendo, it's you don't go with belts, but you certify as and BJJ black belt. So I think that I enjoy also to do seminars that I can show people how my karate looks different without my judo, or my judo will look different without karate. And I give you an example.
Yeah.
If I throw you a judo throw on your head, basically that's gonna be the hardest ever punch you get in your life, with your head hitting the concrete.
Right.
But on the same time, we have a joke for the judo player. We say, when you fight with a judo guy and he's a black belt and you punch him in the face, he just got his brown belt. And if you elbow his eye, he just passed to his green belt. So we all good in a subject, but I think that to show the not the different how judo can cooperate with karate, how BJJ can cooperate with judo. And I was in Israel for a seminar because the judo people didn't accept the BJJ. They always says it's a judo. And my friend was the national coach for judo, and he asked me to come and do a seminar because I was planning anyway to visit in Israel, and they could not accept that somebody developed. Maybe in the old days the judo looks like BJJ, or maybe there were a few schools like this, but that art of the ground will disappear. And and how BJJ will look without a leg locks, because many times why I need to pass your guard if I can put a leg lock on your heel or something. So I think that for me, I enjoy to teach different subjects that they're all leading into one subject that is called combative, or what you can earn from it. And including when I teaching swordmanship, I love to teach also swords. I'm also a fencing instructor, coach actually, and also I teach shooting, because it's no matter, it's any weapon, same mind. So I'm trying to teach the mind, and then to show that it's the same mind. You need to deal with everything different. For example, somebody asked me to teach shooting, but for sport, and I refused. I said, look, I did competition like IPSP. When I lived in Israel, I compete. I even have a card, like a competitor at the time, but I never liked it. I think that they're great skills. I think that it's wonderful for people that really like it, but I don't like to spend my time just for competition. I think it's a waste of my time. I mean, people enjoy it because it's also, you meet friends and all the things, socialize. But I think that guns, for example, in my concept, has only one goal, is to kill.
Mhm.
The first opportunity the gun will have to kill, he will kill. It's like a poison snake. He don't understand that you play with him, that you are a friend. So the gun don't understand if you do it for sport, to impress your friends. The gun has one goal. When they create the gun, they didn't create it like a knife. A knife, you cook in the kitchen and you use knife. So the knife is not only to kill, but the gun is only to kill. So for me to go and play with guns, I need a third thinking before, because it's for me a tool to kill, and it needs the right education. That tool made for kill, not for fun, not for ego. That's why safety is very important. When I see people try to impress other people doing gun disarming with a load gun, I don't like it. Not because you cannot do it. It's just a bunch of ego and show unprofessionalism. No real instructor in Israeli army or any kind of service, serious guy, will ever do it. And if he do it, he will go to jail and they will take his license for gun.
Mm-hmm.
The gun is not a joke. And when we start to do different things with the gun, and again, I'm also a cowboy. I like sometimes to show off in the shooting range as a joke. But when I teach guns, I teach it from the concept that it's not a joke. It's a tool made for kill. And even when you don't mean to kill, you can shoot him in the leg and still kill him. So my idea is also not to teach, for example, the gun unless it's a combative. And I give you another example. Many times in a sport, I have a window, and the guy will stand in the middle, and he will shoot 5 targets. But if I stand in the middle, when I shoot this target, the other 4 shooting me. So for sport, it's great, but it starts to develop a bad concept in your mind. Because if this is the window, and I have to shoot, I be behind the cover. Then I shoot that target, then I move a little bit so I see the next target, and then I start to do like a pizza and clean in a safe way, and to understand what is a concealed and what is a cover. And also, if I'm hiding behind the chair, it's a concealed. But if you shoot the chair, you penetrate and get me in. Even if I'm behind the wall, maybe if you shoot me with a caliber of 0.22, it's okay. The wall will block it. But if you take 50 caliber, you will take me with the wall. So even when you have a cover, it's a limited to which one, to which ammo. And that's why I prefer to bring people a knowledge of combative. It don't mean that I don't like to play. Like I said, I will tell you we're playing. I will not tell you I'm teaching you right now combative. So if a student come and you want to study different tricks in a shooting range, fun, okay. And when you compete many times, your gun is very, it's not the gun that you're going to meet in the street. The trigger is a special trigger, sometimes special sights. It's not the normal gun. So of course you can perform beautiful things, but I don't like, I like to stay focused. Maybe it's because my roots to Krav Maga, and again, I don't say I have friends that compete and they will embarrass me. If we go to competition, they will, it's the same like my friends that doing judo or BJJ. If we compete, but many times when I go with my friends that doing judo and I just low kick them and they limp on one leg, and it's very funny because every martial art, every combat, has its own limits. In Krav Maga, we try to work on your concept, on your mind, and that's where you are unlimited. Because with the age, your knees will fail, your back will fail, and your body will drop on you in some certain time. And all those things that you can kick like this when you're 20, this is why I like, for example, the Krav Maga that will work more like boxing, because the hands, you can see all people will always work. The legs, it's not important. If I need to kick you in the head, I take your head down and then I kick it. I don't need to bring my leg up because that will be limited. Once you cross certain age, it's very difficult to do it.
Yeah. So is the mental aspect of Krav Maga the most important part?
Again, it's if I say it, don't mean that this is the truth. It's my truth. It don't mean that another teacher will not see it true. No, the main important Krav Maga is to do 50 push-ups. I don't see 50 push-ups as the most important. I see as developing your mind is the most important. It could be that I have a student that if he hit the bed for 3 minutes, he's done. He burned all his energy. So he need to fight more smart. You need to know how many bullets you have in the magazine. So don't start to shoot for nothing. Wait. You see a target, you shoot. So wait and then throw. Wait and then throw. And to fight more smart, it means I did karate for many years and different styles. Some styles we hit here. Here you can take half stone. Here you cannot take 15 kilo. Everyone has 15 kilo. Not everyone is half ton. So if I have a student, I will try to teach him to look for the point and to go for that point. It's more important than to just hit like crazy. Wait for the timing. Timing is the most important, and boom, that's it. It's no matter how strong the guy. If you take the jaw, 15 kilo, the guy go. Anybody, an old man in the age of 95 can give you 15 kilo here. But if he punch you here, you waste energy. He come close to you, so you can grab him, and then he's in a big problem. And this is why I'm trying to develop people how to think and what to work on. And also, when I say Krav Maga, I'm trying to teach people also survival. It means we're teaching them Arctic survival, how to survive in bad weather. We used to teach also jungle survival. We used to do a lot of outdoor training for people. And it's a fun, but it's also teach you to put priorities. Like I said, I know I cannot run 5 kilometers. So if somebody run after me, it's better to me to camouflage and escape. And I show people, for example, in a field that you see it in every fear movie. The woman escape, and he's after her. If you just lay down and don't move, nobody can know that you're there in the field. Nobody. And many times we teach people, I mean, when we even start, even now we're going to Florida and we'll do these courses again. We teach people in a swimming pool. We even used to teach people to swim. I had students that come and they say to me, they don't know to swim. And say, okay, today we teach you to swim. And this is why it is very important that Krav Maga will understand that the fight is in many ideas. And the first idea is to survive. And you can fight 5 people and fall into the river and then you drown. So to give people very basic skills in many things. And it's better to be good in many skills than to be the best in a one skill. My opinion. I'm sure that some people will counter it, and it's okay. They can do whatever they feel like. It's like marriage. Everyone finds his own bride. And also as a teacher, sometimes students come and I say, I understand what you asked, but this is not in my school. You better go to this school or that school because that's not what I do. I do different things, and I think that this is the main. Sometimes you hear people argument. There's nothing to argue. It's just like different shoes, different coat. It fits for you. It don't mean that it must fit to anybody. And if you feel comfortable with this concept, good. It don't mean that everyone will feel comfortable in this coat. For example, somebody will show me that Thai box is the hardest and the toughest martial art. So first we agree. I never say the opposite. I think that Thai boxers are really tough. But when I get a guy in the age of 95, should I teach him Thai box? So this is again like, and I have friends that are great Thai box, but when I drop them to the floor, they're like a turtle on the back. So if you know that I'm a good Thai box, and or if you have more weight than the other guy, why don't you use your mass or your weight? Why? So Krav Maga is not to be, because in Thai box you need like to be skinny, move, and everything, but not everyone have those skills. Like I said, like athletic, but it don't mean that you cannot win. And in a real fight, I can be a UFC champion and lose to somebody that is not a UFC champion. It's of course the thing in the ring is that you put those two people to 10 times fight and fight and fight. 9 of them, the UFC fighter will win. But in a real street fight, we talk about that 1% that you're gonna win, not about 90%. And because you know your weakness, you're not going to say to the UFC, let's fight. You're going to make him feel comfortable that he can win. He already won. And you could see it in many times. I used to be in a lot of boxing and Thai boxing, and the guy was beaten up. And I always laugh. I said, the fight never end until it's end. Then the other guy want to make a joke. So he's doing this, like to joke about the guy. He's like making like a rotation. And then the guy that was beat up suddenly, boom, and knock him down. And that's for me, Krav Maga.
Yeah.
That's for me, Krav Maga. It's not, I can go to 100 fights and win. That's my ego. But that fight that I was already been defeated all over, and the guy did a mistake, start to play or to that moment that I recover and hit him once and manage to escape or to survive that's for me Krav Maga. Krav Maga is not a show off art. Again, from the point I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm. So it's a difference between the mindset of winning and the mindset of survival.
Krav Maga teach you to lose, not to win. When my students come, they always lose. I mean, like I put you in a, let's say we take you to Arctic survival. Everyone cries, everyone suffers. I mean, and if we make a hole in the ice and you have to jump in, even I cry.
Mm-hmm.
I have a friend, he's a Navy SEAL, and every time we go to something cold, he cry. But everyone laughs. They say to him, "But you've been a Navy SEAL. It don't mean that you are an idiot. A Navy SEAL is not a guy that likes the pain. He's just strong here, and he knows to take it. Mm-hmm. He enjoyed the same. He enjoyed the sea in the Caribbean. But if he need to swim, or he can do it. And that's where Krav Maga comes to teach the mental, not the physical only. The physical is secondary for me in the Krav Maga, because the physical is come and go. But if your mental is strong, you can perform even when your physical is weak. And I can tell you, because I'm 60 years old, and sometimes I work with soldiers, and in a certain point, I'm like getting pissed. I say, give me the gun. And I start to demo, like at 20 years old, and I'm running and I demo. And they all look at me, how old are you? 60 years old. And then after all this show, when I come back to the hotel, suddenly I'm like this, I can't move. You understand? Because in the field, it was the adrenaline and it was here.
Mm-hmm.
So it don't mean that I can do it every day. Because that I need to be athlete. For this, I need to run every day. And that's again, like I'm trying to make sure that my student, if he will need, he can do it. And that's the important thing. And I can tell you, in my age, how many students I have that saved their life because of Krav Maga. And I'm not telling it to impress anybody, because I teach also BJJ and Kendo, and I love them all. Mm-hmm. But I had a student in Israel that 2 terrorists tried to kidnap him, and he survived the situation. And the military police immediately arrest him to interrogate the situation, to see, because sometimes soldiers lie. And when they interrogate him, he was like, why they put me in the toilet? It stinks from toilet smell, and he was like, and then he understand that actually, and that's why they believe him, he was pee on himself in this situation.
Right.
And he was crying, and that's a real situation. You're not going like this, or the guy punch you, and you're like, oh, good, give me another one. That's a UFC. That's a totally different. Mm-hmm. In a real situation, you cry. You see the death angel, and you cry, and you puke, and whatever need. And then you survive it. And then you understand that, I even pee on myself. Mm-hmm. So there's nothing ego about survival risk situation. You cry, you pass the hardest time. And that's why, for example, we put a program like the SER school. It's very popular in Australia. It's very popular in England, Ireland, Scotland. Actually, they have the top teachers also in the US for SERE, and that's survival, evacuation. We're teaching people to escape, how to survive hard terms. Same like you teach for different units that if they catch up, how to survive, like psychology of a combat. And this is again what Krav Maga can give that many other styles will not. Teaching people to escape from handcuff, teaching from tie zip, duct tape. So the Krav Maga is the curriculum of Krav Maga, I will say, is endless.
Right.
Is endless. I give you another example. Many times you see it in Krav Maga that they do headbutt, and in many performance, headbutt to the back, headbutt to the sides when the guy grabbing you. And then I said, I love the headbutt, but I don't feel good with it. So I called my friend, he's a soccer coach, and I told him, do me a favor, come and teach us headbutts, because soccer player, they always headbutt.
Mm-hmm.
And but I told him, bring the balls with maximum air that you can put in. It's like a stone. And the first time one guy do this and the ball hit him here, they almost pass out. And then people start to understand exactly which part, exactly which timing, how to work your neck to get the head. And there's nothing wrong about admit. I'm not good in the headbutt, because how we practice it. So you think, who's doing the best headbutt? Okay, then I bring a soccer player and they will teach us to do headbutt. If you can headbutt a ball, it's the same like a head. And which part of your head to engage and how to work your muscles, and give so many exercises, and we all appreciate it. So if I feel weak with guns, I will look for a good gun trainer to do gun to my students. I had friends that teach Krav Maga, and they're great. One of them is great in grappling. And many times I told them, listen, you make a joke from yourself, because you don't know from which side to hold the gun. So why you hold the gun like this or like this or like this? This is totally make you now looks bad. Instead of say, look, I don't know guns. Let me bring expert for gun. Let me bring expert for knife. And you know what? Expert for knife, do you know how two people from knife system would never agree about the same thing? Never. So why not to study more and more? That's actually Krav Maga. When we try to still to study more and to bring more concept, like you can see a lot of system of knife or sticks, and it looks like very fast. But if I give you a stick and I have a stick, you will never be in this distance. Never. You will never be in a distance that all of those blocks. Because if I give you a stick, you will take a distance, I'll take a distance, and we'll try to hit and come back. So you have also to ask yourself if what you teach is realistic. Or so it's beautiful. Okay, if you want to do something beautiful or art, nothing against it. Nothing against. I have students that start to, even I got a common friend and student, he called me last week, and he complained, but in a positive way. He says, look, if I want to study to dance, I go for dance class. At the end of the day, I want to study also to combat.
Yeah.
So, but there's nothing wrong. Just you have to tell your students, look, we put more like a combat dance. It's okay. Nothing wrong, but be honest with your students. And if you don't know guns, be honest with your students and say, I don't know guns. There's things, many years people ask me about women's self-defense. I say, I know a lot about women until I got married. And I'm sorry, I don't know nothing about women's self-defense to teach. I'm not ashamed. I don't. I teach special forces. I don't. Everyone is a gorilla like this. You understand that it's need a skill by somebody that research and know about that subject. The thing that I'm a ninja don't mean that I know women's self-defense and the psychology of the women's self-defense. And I know a lot of situations of people coming to women that get abused and try to teach them, you do this, you do this, you take his eye out. Who told you that she can do it? If she could do it in the first time in her mind, she will do it. A lot of people have a blocks, a wall. They cannot take your eye out.
Mm-hmm.
What you teach them is a nonsense because they cannot do it. Plus, you scare them. Plus, they're already traumatic, so you more trauma them. So I have a friend that this was his main job. He was in the police into women rape, women abuse, women attack, and he saw what happened in real situation and in all different things that for me I said, what grab you here, that's nonsense. No, for in reality it was not. So a lot of time it's very important before you go to teach to do your own research, to do your own study. And a lot of teachers, okay, you're a great grappler, I'm sorry, you don't know nothing about guns. So if you teach your students to hold a gun like this, you just mistake. Because when I hold a gun like this, look, the gun can move. So it means you have no control. So the left hand is a waste of time. But if you hold like this, then the gun cannot move because this is. So many times when I teach people to shoot, and let's say that this is a gun, I don't let them hold the gun with I let them hold the gun with the left hand and now to shoot. So now you control the gun not to move with your left. And then when you have the two hands, you have, so, and many times I advise with people, I listen to other teachers. And again, if you hear two shooters agree about everything, you won in the lottery. It's impossible. Every trainer has his own idea, but the truth is always in between all of those ideas. And
Right.
this is where Krav Maga actually, the way I see it, it's a lot of time people say, no, this is not Krav Maga. It's good because explore is a part of Krav Maga.
Yeah.
And when you explore, and I can tell you, just teaching in the civil market, I could see technique of Krav Maga, how they change because we bash them. It's not a shame. I mean, like we change when we get improved that something don't work or can
Mm-hmm.
work better. So not from a ego, not from a bad mouth, but I think that this is something that in 20 years I can tell that Krav Maga changed a lot of things that in 20 years ago, if you ask them, they will bash it, they will have a bad mouth, this is not Krav Maga and Krav Maga. But then they find out and they change.
Yeah.
So in the end of the day, that's the most important because when we always try to bring the best for the student, it's a develop, it's a breathing. Martial art, it's a breathing thing. That's why I don't teach too much the Japanese martial art anymore because some people they call it traditional, I call it religional because it became like a religion. Like you need
Yeah.
it's not a religion. In a traditional Japanese martial art, you had this armor like a samurai, so it was limit you. You see, different than I go with a t-shirt. So of course my mobility will look different, and I will go like different walks because that's the way to walk when you carry the armor. But as long as you don't carry armor, why you want to walk like this?
Yeah.
And I'll give you another example from shooting. In the old days, two bullets to the chest, and then you go up. So it's like two bullets and up. Why up? It means to kill or not to kill. You don't need to kill him. If the threat is done, the weapon is out. But first, as a stop power, we want two to the chest. It's a big target. You cannot miss. Two very fast bullets to the chest, and then you go up to the head. So you decide if the guy is still a threat or not a threat, or if you want to kill him or not to kill him. But all of this concept is changing today. We don't shoot anymore to the chest. And why? Because of most of people, you can see it with any forces. They have a ceramic plate over here. And also criminals now work with a ceramic. So you shoot the criminal two bullets to the chest and it's not effective.
Mm-hmm.
So it keep running to you. So today we start to talk about pocket shooting when you want to shoot the pocket area or the hip. Because when you break the bone is broken and you will fall down. So this is again when Krav Maga or KAPAP, yeah, because I teach KAPAP Krav Maga because I also keep the tradition, but we try to evolve and to breathe. And if somebody did in 1960 a move, it don't mean that I need to do it like a religion because that guy did it. I can also tell you, look, in 1960, that was the best, and this is what they did. But with the time, we find out that it will be a mistake to do it. And you need to know that in the 1960s, you never fight a grappler and an MMA level guy. And the martial art also looks at that time different.
Yeah, and I think that's the point, is that Krav Maga has to keep evolving and has to keep changing. And I hope that 20 years from now, the Krav Maga that I'm doing is different than the Krav Maga that I'm doing today, and that we will find better ways.
If it's not, then you don't do Krav Maga.
Right, exactly. All right, sir. Well, we're running out of time, and I want to thank you for coming on the program, and I've enjoyed listening to you, and I'd like to have you back on again at another point in time.
Thank you very much, and thank you for your time. And I hope to see you in the training.